Well, more people are getting the surprise of their lives. Through DNA tests, they're learning their biological fathers are their mother's fertility doctors. And in many cases, the mothers are just as shocked.
Investigative Reporter Candice Nguyen digs deeper into a local case and the industry as a whole. Here's part 2 of her investigation.
I couldn't wrap my mind out of, it was nothing to him. He was just able to do this.
In the months we've been following Marlena Velasquez's case, she has been grappling with her discovery that her mother's San Leandro fertility doctor used his own sperm to artificially reproduce her, that it was done without her parents' knowledge, according to the doctor, and he did it at least 2 other times, including to conceive her sister, who wants to remain anonymous for this story.
She told me, I think I hung up. I just went in my room and cried. I don't understand why you did this and why can't you talk to us? We don't want anything from him.
This feeling of shock stretches far beyond the Velasquez sisters. Through lawsuits and news reports, the investigative unit has tracked down numerous cases nationwide.
I was 35 and I take a DNA test.
There's also a Netflix documentary called My Father, where an Indiana OBGYN fathered at least 94 offspring with unknowing patients.
I will fight to expose all of your secrets.
When you start digging into it and you start to realize just how much is going on and how many victims there are.
After learning she was a doctor donor conceived child, Tracy Portugal started looking for others and found 38 doctors and more than 300 cases nationwide of physicians accused of using their own sperm with their patients, mostly during the 70s and 80s. These numbers are expected to grow as more people take DNA tests.
For many of us, it's very isolating in that the doctor and their family want nothing to do with us.
But should we judge decisions made in this industry decades ago by our standards today? Our search for that answer brought us to Dr. Alan DeCherney in Washington, D.C. He's been practicing since the 70s and is considered a leader in the fertility field.
The culture then was just to help the patient.
Was it wrong, a doctor using his own sperm on a patient without her consent? Was that unethical?
One time, I know it kind of dates me or whatever, but I'm kind of sympathetic with one time. The donor doesn't show up. It's 1960, and he doesn't want to disappoint the patient.
For the cases where it happened multiple times, like with Velasquez's family OBGYN?
And that's wrong. I mean, I think anybody would be appalled by that.
What are some steps to move forward, you think?
I think that the best thing is truth, and I think it hurts for a little while, but it's better to get it out there.
So is the truth getting out there? We spoke with an attorney who is not associated with Portugal's or the Velasquez cases, but says he's been getting so many calls about this issue, his law firm now has a fertility fraud practice.
We've represented roughly 27 women against their doctors for that.
What ultimately happened in those cases? Did the truth come out?
Basically, all of our cases where we've represented women against their doctors, the doctors ultimately have admitted that they did it. In almost all of them, too, they settle with us before we need to file a lawsuit. That is accompanied by a confidentiality agreement.
But why would the plaintiffs sign that confidentiality agreement if they want the story to come out, if they want other siblings to know about their case and potentially come forward?
Lots of people actually don't want their story to come out. I mean, unfortunately, lots of people feel shame about this.
Shame and the sense there's little recourse for people taking DNA tests now, only to discover these disturbing parts of their past. When we contacted the California Attorney General's office about these cases, they said the Medical Board of California is their client in this matter. The medical board told us they can only take action against a doctor within 7 years of the alleged act. There is a federal lawmaker working on legislation that could retroactively criminalize using reproductive material falsely, but it hasn't been formally introduced yet.
Up to this point, I feel all of them have let me and other victims down.
For the Velasquez sisters, there has been a silver lining. They say in a strange way, this journey has brought them closer to who they will always consider to be their real father, regardless of DNA.
Because we know blood in the end doesn't matter anything. It's the love.
This man who raised them, who has since passed away and will never know of their discovery.
Nothing changes. He's our dad. It made me want him more and love him more and appreciate for what he did for us as children.
What do you want out of all this?
I just want people to know who their biological father is. I think they have a right to know.
The fertility field has come a long way since the 70s and 80s when most of these cases happened. It has since boomed into a $3 billion industry that remains largely self-regulated. With the Investigative Unit, Candice Nguyen, NBC Bay Area News.
All right, thank you so much. Now, if you have any information that you'd like to pass along or a story for Candice, you can contact her at the Investigative Unit. You can call 888-996-TIPS, or you can visit our website, nbcbayarea.com/investigation.